As you can see, we've added a sphere. For practice, let's add a few more spheres. We're going to close the render window, and then we're going to put our cursor at a different point on the screen. Spacebar, add mesh UV sphere, and spacebar, add mesh UV sphere. Now if we look through our 0 button, we'll see we have 3 spheres, and if we render it, we'll see all 3 balls. Now let's look at how we can manipulate those balls. The first thing we'll practice is the grab button. If I right-click on the sphere and then hit G, it allows me to move the object. If I click, it sets the object in its new place. So right-click, G, move, and click. Right-click, G, move, and click. Now if I render it, we'll see that we put the spheres in the corner of the camera window. It's important to remember that this is in 3 dimensions. So for example, if I hit 7 and look at the top-down view, and then since I can't see my camera, I have to zoom out by hitting the minus button, we'll see that there's a depth to this too. If I were to hit G and grab this object and put it right in front of the camera, and hit G and grab this object and put it very far back, with 0 I can check that all 3 of these are still going to be in the window. What I'll find is that this is maybe a little bit too high. Now I render. It looks like the balls are of 3 different sizes. This is because this one is much closer to the camera than this one, which is further back, and therefore it looks smaller. So to hit 7 again, I'll move this one G back towards the camera, and I'll move this one again here. Hitting 0, I can check to make sure that they're all going to be in the window. And rendering shows me the 3 balls again. If I really did want to increase the size, I would do it with the S button. I can select the object and then hit S, which allows me to zoom it out or zoom it in. Okay, so this just basically allows me to stretch the object, making it bigger or smaller. And then when I click on it, it locks in the new shape. So now when I render it, I'll see that the center ball is much bigger. Again, practice that by selecting the other cube or the other sphere, hitting S and zooming it in this sphere, S, and making it very, very tiny. All the editing that I've been doing so far is while the object is in object mode. If I click on the object, I can also switch from object mode to edit mode. I can also do this by hitting the tab button, which moves me back and forth between object and edit mode. In edit mode, each of the rings intersection point, where the rings intersect can be selected. So if I right click on this one point and then hit G, I can move that point out, moving it around just like I was moving the sphere around, and then I can click. I can take another point, G, to grab it and move it out, or with B I can drag a box around a group of points, select those, hit G to move it out, and now when I render, I'll see that my cube looks pretty bizarre. My sphere looks pretty bizarre because I've taken these individual points of the sphere and I've moved them to different locations.